Well, it's good to see people actually out there supporting President Trump as the FBI and the Biden cabal is completely out of control. Uh, I'm joined. You're watching Let's Be Frank, and I'm joined tonight by Will Johnson. Will, how are you doing? What do you think about what we just saw there?
You know what? I see all of the people lining up, and people are angry about what's happening. People are showing up with support. But you know what? I would love to see millions of people hit the street. If it was just think about it, if it was the other way around
Yeah.
and President Trump is in office and then they did this raid against Obama, my goodness, you would have Antifa, you have BLM, you have the socialist, communist, Democrats, all of them out in the street. It would be a repeat of the Summer of Love 2020. It would be a repeat. They would be, that's exactly what they'd be doing. They say, this is a dictator. Even if they come out and say, well, Trump didn't have anything, he didn't even know about it, like they're saying about Joe Brandon.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of the game now is they want there to be some kind of violence that they can pin on the right to use that as an excuse to crack down on all of us. But I agree. Right now, this is what we need to see. We need to see people in the streets upset about this and pushing back. Really, we need to see more from our elected leaders. Like I've seen a few people, and the obvious ones, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jim Jordan, people like that making firm statements about this, unprecedented raid on a former president. But when I've seen these like weak responses from Mitch McConnell and all the usual inside the Beltway Republicans, it just shows you again we're dealing with a uniparty.
Oh, dude, just the other day, actually, it was the day after when we were all talking about it. I'm looking at the Communist News Network and I look at MSDNC just to see what they're going to say. And one of them, if I'm not mistaken, was on the Communist News Network, CNN, and they were talking about Mitch McConnell. They love Mitch McConnell over there because Mitch McConnell, they're talking about how much Mitch McConnell hates President Trump. So as long as he hates President Trump, they love him, right? And Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, then you have Liz Cheney, then you have Adam Kissinger, then Mitt Romney, and then you have there's a few other ones in there too. If I would go as far as saying Kevin McCarthy.
Oh yeah.
They hate Trump, but then they'll utilize Trump when they want to rally the people because they know that Trump still has the party.
Yeah, that's right. Like the people still like President Trump. The people still, and it's not just the Republican voters and the people that are on the right. It's people that are in the middle are coming around because they remember 2 years ago things weren't like this. We didn't have $4 to $5 a gallon gas. We didn't have shortages of food constantly in the grocery store, and there wasn't all this pending doom on the horizon like we see right now.
Yeah, it wasn't there. And you know what? They you know what it is? They want America to be the way Trump had it. They just don't want Trump running it. They don't want Trump there. They want Trump's America, but they don't want Trump to be there to doing it. It's really bizarre because no one is happy about the high gas prices. I just went to a store here in Texas called HEB, not to promote them or anything, but I went to buy a piece of salmon. And before you buy some salmon, like a 1 pound or 2 pound piece of salmon, it'd be like $9, maybe $12, and that's expensive, right? Me telling you that it's expensive, right? $12 for a piece of salmon. $31
Are
for
you
2 pound. No, I'm not kidding. I took a picture of it. I put it on Facebook. $31 in the middle of a recession. And they're saying that we're not in a recession because they changed the definition on it, of course. Right.
Yeah.
But all of this is happening. And you know what? And I think what they did going to President Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago, I think one of the reasons, not the main reasons, but one of the reasons is because they want to distract everybody from the high gas prices that are still there, from the food crisis that we're going through, from the border evasion that's happening right now, and the takeover of our government by the liberal world order. There is all a distraction when it comes to that. But we know the main reason why they did this is because they're terrified of the man. He's just a man. He's just a man, and they're terrified of him.
Well, yeah, they're afraid if he comes back when he wins again, when he wins election for the third time, that he's going to come back swinging, and there's going to be no mercy. I think if Trump comes back, it'll be with a vengeance. He's going to go after these government agencies that stood in his way and slowed things down and mucked things up and leaked documents, that there will be repercussions for all these, and he has nothing to lose now. I mean, the deep state has already shown who they are and where their loyalties lie, and it is not with the American people. So having somebody in there that's ready to just go guns blazing after them, I think also he's figured out in the last, I guess, 5 years now that you can't rely on the media, that his best bet is just to bypass them and get his word out. With True Social and his other platforms now, he has ways to do that, to skip the filter that the media would otherwise put on his communication.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, talking about the media they're part of the problem. They're the ones, they're part of the reason why we're in this predicament right now, because they convince everybody saying, President Trump is racist. They did the whole Russia collusion, delusion. Yeah. They did that over and over. And they said that he's guilty. This is what I've been saying too about that. I get like this analogy, right? You have a murder report. There's been a dead body, right? I'm telling you, there's been a dead body. And you ask me, well, where's the missing persons report? Who's missing? And I tell you, we don't know yet. We have to investigate it to see who's missing and if there actually was a murder. But we know that there was a murder. We know that there was. We just don't know who was murdered. But we have to investigate it until we find a dead body somewhere. We'll find one somewhere. We just have to keep looking. That's exactly what everything. Russia, the impeachment, all of it, the same type of tactics that they've been using.
Exactly. And I think that's the game that I hate to put it this way, but I almost bet that the FBI going down there down to Mar-a-Lago for hours and hours and hours, since they didn't want them filming, they wouldn't let the lawyers even on the property, they made them stand at the end of the driveway, that if there aren't going to be some documents that Trump was not supposed to have that mysteriously show up in the collection there somehow. Or
you know what? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I
was just going to say the corruption is so high. I was expecting them to plant something. I mean, who wasn't? Well, the left want them to plant something. I'm expecting them to plant something.
Well, my other thought was this, think about how many times there was some insider within his administration, then all of a sudden goes to the media, they're the leaker, or once they left his administration, then all of a sudden they have all this dirt on Donald Trump that never really went anywhere. Who's to say that somebody, as they were leaving the White House, that somebody didn't tug on their shirt and say, hey, why don't you stick this folder in one of these boxes he's leaving with the idea that now they know this evidence is in there, he's going to leave, this box isn't going to be open for months, and then again, now when the FBI does finally come through with the search warrant, there's documents there waiting for them to find. They already know are there, that they already know he's not supposed to have.
Well, you know what? I think you're spot on, because we have to remember they went to Mar-a-Lago back in June. And they took away 15 boxes. And the question today is, what about all the stuff that they went back for? Why didn't they take it then? Why did it take 2 months? Why 2 months later for them to say, oh, wait a minute. I remember seeing a document that we left there. So we need to go back and get it. And on top of that, not only did they leave documents what it appears to be, they even sent documents to Mar-a-Lago in the mail. This is reports that's coming out right as of today. Reports are coming out that the FBI sent documents to Mar-a-Lago so they would be there when they get there. It's like, what? You can't make this stuff up.
Well, everything around this stinks. That there's so many suspicious hands, and that there's the Epstein judge, or the judge that was a defense attorney for some of these people associated with Epstein. Merrick Garland. Of course, Trump coming into office is what prevented him from getting onto the Supreme Court. Christopher Wray, and all the stink around that with the FBI and Trump. There's just so many things in this that are conflicts of interest. There's no effort. When a Republican's involved with something like Jeff Sessions, they made him recuse himself from the whole election investigation, the Russia investigation, all this other stuff. Republicans will do that. They'll recuse themselves, take them off a case if they had any even slight involvement.
I can't stand that. I mean, it's like they're weak and in need, no backbone, spineless Republicans, straight up. And whatever the Democrats, and I call them demon-crats because they're demons and then they're witchcraft and demon-crats, and they bend over for the rhinos will bend over for the Democrats and say, okay, how long do I need to stay this way? I can't stand it to no end. The Republican Party is supposed to be the party of strength. The Republican Party is supposed to be the actual party for the people. The Democrat Party was never the party for the people. It never was. It was for their authority, for their power, for their control, and they're drunk on it. That's why it's so easy for them today to do this totalitarian against the American people, to come down on us. That's why it's so easy for them. And in their eye, they see nothing wrong with this. Nothing.
You got that right. It's in their nature. It's always how the Democrats have acted. It's just the target of their aggression shifts over the years, but their methodology always stays the same. Now, I will give people this. I do think, like, the Democrat Party of the 1980s or before, it wasn't completely full of wackos like it is today. Like, there used to be some people that we could put our differences aside and come together when we needed to and do the right thing for the country. But that's not what we're dealing with today. Now it is completely agenda driven, and it is a situation of Republicans will, well, it's almost like an abusive relationship or something along those lines. Like, Republicans always go out of their way to be nice, and if they have the upper hand, they give the Democrats a break. They don't prosecute. They don't pursue things the way they could. Whereas when Democrats have the power, they crush their enemies any way they can, and we're seeing that right now with them weaponizing the FBI and the IRS.
Yep. You know what? You're nice. You're a little too nice to the Democrats, if you ask me. I mean, you're being a nice guy here. I mean, I'm gonna call them out. The Democrats have always been demonic. They are the party of Satan. I'm just gonna be straight up with it. They've always been the party of the KKK. That has never changed. They've always been the party that didn't want black people or women voting. That has never changed. The only thing that changed were their tactics, how to manipulate people. That's the only thing that's changed. They've always been that way. And personally, the one thing that I don't like that Abraham Lincoln did not do, and he should have done it, he should have abolished the Democrat Party. All of them should have been tried for treason, and the Democrat Party should not even exist today. But they allowed them that lost. It was a war against Republicans and Democrats, and the Democrats lost the war, and they still allowed them to exist. They didn't allow the Nazis to exist after World War II. So why did they allow them to exist? And look at our country today. Look what's happening. It's because of them. 90% of the problems that we have in our country is because of the Democrat Party.
Oh, yeah. And you make a really good point. It actually kind of illustrates the Republicans still operate the same way today. When they have power, they don't use it. They could have tried them for treason, abolished the party, break it up. But no, they chose not to. Yeah, they wanted unity.
Should have happened. Yep.
Yeah.
Kumbaya.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that anymore. We you know what? We don't have that luxury any longer. And I'm not talking about we need to go out and be violent towards anybody. That's let me make sure that's clear. I've never talked about or advocated for violence against another person ever. But we don't have the luxury of allowing them to just run over us like this any longer. And they're actually pushing us to the edge. And you're not, the American people at some point not going to have a choice. And it's not going to be pretty because they have the woke FBI, they have woke military. Look at these woke generals that they have. And they even have woke police officers, which is just mind blowing to me. After they're saying, oh, we're going to defund the police, but they have these woke cops. I don't get it. It's almost like a black person's actually still supporting the Democrat Party, which is the party of the KKK. I don't get it.
Yeah, you're right. It makes zero sense. And well, you know how we have the woke cops now? It's because when they started this purge during COVID, a lot of the people that were good cops that didn't want to violate people's individual rights and go against the Constitution and violate the law, they left. They went elsewhere. They went to cities and states that weren't doing these things. So now what you have left are the Gestapo, the ones that don't care, the ones that will just do whatever I'm just following orders. We'll do that. Or the ones that are even worse. They're behind it. They want to see these things happen.
You know, if real quick, if I can, Mar-a-Lago raid. You know, one of the things that came out, and they're talking about how they ransacked Melania Trump's her wardrobe, her clothes. You know, they trashed the place.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine. This is straight up the communist tactics that they've done in the past to other leaders, potential leaders. They did this for intimidation. They're trying to intimidate President Trump. And Trump being who he is, I can't wait to see it. Have you ever seen Star Wars?
Oh yeah, I've seen some of them.
Okay, so some of them. Did you see the first three? The
original three that were actually good. Yeah,
yes. So think about this: when President Trump came into office, America had new hope.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then guess what happened? The Empire struck back.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're waiting on the return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Come on now, you can't make it up.
Well,
that's exactly. It's playing out just like that. It's playing out just like the Empire is striking back.
Well, and I think when it comes back, right now the Empire is definitely striking back, and when the Jedi return, it's going to be back with a vengeance because people have had it. We've learned our lesson.
Yes.
And there was a segment you had on your show. Oh, I just realized we dived into this so fast. I never even gave you a real chance to introduce yourself. Will, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
No, you're good. You're good. I like it. So I have my own show on Lindell TV 2, and it's Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Central. And I'm here to be to help you out and do what I can. And I'm enjoying this conversation that we're having.
Yeah. Yeah, so for now I have a show, but after forgetting about Will for about 10 minutes, we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. But
it's all good.
But yeah, you made a really good point on your show, and I think it was you're kind of following up on a comment that was this Judge Pirro that said this, that when the Republicans take office again, that forget hearings, forget anything, that we need to see prosecution.
I know exactly what you're referring to. It was Judge Janine.
Yeah, Judge Janine.
Judge Janine. She said, we don't need to have these stupid hearings. I'm a paraphrase here. We don't need to have these stupid hearings and waste of time, waste of money. We already know who the criminals are. We know what they've done. We all see what they've done. They just need to go straight to prosecuting these people.
Exactly.
They go straight to it. I mean, why waste the time? We already know. And you know what? And I think that's part of the reason why they're going all out right now with this corruption. And we might not even make it to the midterm elections with all this corruption.
Oh, I agree. Like, you had this guy, I live here in Dayton, Ohio, and in Cincinnati, yesterday you had this lunatic go down to the FBI building, I guess try to shoot through a window with a nail gun. He ended up getting in a shootout later with the police.
Oh my goodness, these Trump supporters, look how violent they are. Oh my goodness, they're going after the FBI. What do we do? Well,
exactly. Well, they're going to take some guy like this and they're going to use this as a case now. Oh, if we don't have mail-in voting, there's going to be violence. These violent Trump-supporting white supremacist wackos are going to be blocking the polls. They just need a few incidents like this to use one way or another, either stop the elections or demand mail-in voting across the country again.
No, you're absolutely right. Because, I mean, come on, think about it. The monkeypox not working for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm like, hey, I have no need to get the monkeypox vaccine. I mean, I don't. And I don't ever plan on having a need on getting.
Yeah, exactly. I don't go to a lot of gay orgies, so I'm probably okay.
Right? I mean, I'm not dipping anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're right. They're going to make up some kind of excuse, some kind of reason to try to prevent people from going to the voting polls this November. They have to, because look what has happened in Arizona, a clean sweep. They're terrified. And you know what? The Democrats are so stupid. They're pouring money into mega Republicans thinking that, hey, these mega Republicans are going to be really easy to beat come November. And then they're like, wait a minute. They're like winning too much here. They're winning too much because Mike Pence in Arizona. It was between Mike Pence and President Trump. Mike Pence lost. That's in a strong signal to Mike Pence. Like, you don't have a chance here. And everybody wants Trump, especially now. Let me bring this up if I can.
Yeah.
After they did this to President Trump in Mar-a-Lago, I said, you know what I see is going to happen? There's going to be people that hated Trump, people that dislike Trump, people were like, I have my reservations about Trump. You know what? I'm voting for Trump because he's the underdog here. It's like, leave the man alone. And you know what? If he was running for office, they wouldn't be doing this. They wouldn't be the January 6th committee. They wouldn't be doing that. If his potential of him running for office again, they wouldn't have raided his home. None of that would have happened. None of it. They were like, let him go on. He's done.
Well, you're right about two things. That Well, right now, I think the goal is they're trying to find something to prevent him from being able to run for office, or just get him tied up in the courts to where even if they don't have something to actually prevent him from running, they'll prevent him by process, death by 1,000 cuts. But you're exactly right. Like, I saw Megyn Kelly, and she was not exactly a giant Trump fan. I mean, I don't think she's as far like against him. For a while she did, but I do think she's softened since then anyway. But she was furious about this raid. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It throws all our norms and standards out the window.
Eye-opening. It's completely eye-opening. And I think what happened to a lot of people that had, like I was saying, their reservations about President Trump in the past, and were like, okay, you know what? This is just too far. This is what third world countries do. This is exactly what third world countries do. And now we're doing it here. So they're saying a lot of them, like Megyn Kelly, I was thinking about her, and even other people. Like when I post stuff on social media and I'm reading in the feeds, and people are just saying, you know what? I was not like thinking like, no, not Trump. But everyone is like, even Democrats are like, this is too far, because with Trump, what they did here, they opened up the door. Yeah. They opened up the door for Trump to do it when he gets in office, because we were all wanting him to do it when he went in office the first time, to just start locking these people up, doing the right thing. But now they've opened that door up. There's nothing. Hey, y'all did it here. Y'all did it to me. Here it comes.
Exactly.
And you know what? They're going to do something else to try to get rid of him. I'm just surprised they haven't really gone to the extreme of trying to assassinate him yet.
Dude, I think
or maybe they have and they just hadn't released that information, but I'm really just at odd that they haven't done it. The Clintons, I mean, come on, look how many body bags they have. They got stock in body bags. If they don't, they should.
Yeah. I'm sure they've got investments in who's the big casket maker in Indiana, Batesville. They own stock in Batesville.
Body bag them, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, we've got to run to a break real quick here from our sponsor, Extractgevity. So stay with us. We'll be back here in just a minute.
Extractgevity is an all-natural energy and health drink developed by Brannon House several years ago with a team of experts. Extractgevity supports a healthy heart, strong immunity, skin, hair and nails, cognitive health, and cellular health. This all-natural energy drink is loaded with antioxidants. But don't take our word for it. Do your own research to find the benefits of red wine extract, bilberry extract, grapeseed extract, pine bark extract, and vitamin C. Brannon credits Extractgevity in part for his abundance of energy and good health. Order your 30-day supply now at mystore.com. Be sure to use the promo code on the screen for a generous discount. Extractgevity, your all-natural source for energy and good health. Find it at mystore.com.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Let's Be Frank. I'm here with my very special guest, Will Johnson. And right before we went to break, you were making a very interesting point about if things don't work soon, the Democrats may try to assassinate Trump. And that gives us the perfect transition to our next topic because, well, they might just leave the IRGC to do that. Last week, we saw a story break where the IRGC, which is a part of the Iranian military, they paid a person, a U.S. citizen in California, $300,000 to assassinate John Bolton. So this story just came out publicly, and this is not the first time they've done this. It's really been a pattern of behavior. Trump they originally made threats against him in January with a video they released on Twitter. And then we've also had Pompeo. He's had to run around with security costing millions of dollars a month just to do all the threats from the Iranian government. Will, you got any thoughts on this?
I saw something about that, and he's like insulted, just only $300,000. I mean, yeah. Why not, $2 million? Why not $1 million? He's like, that's all I'm worth.
Yeah. You know what? I'd honestly be a little insulted too, because $300,000 today doesn't get you very far, especially with inflation, considering where food prices are now, where they're going to be in another 6 months.
$31 for two pounds of salmon. So.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. My question is how come the liberal media is not all over this? Can you imagine if it was a country, let's just say Russia, right? And they want to send have Obama assassinated. they would talk about it day in and day out, and then they would say, you know what, I'm pretty sure Trump is behind this too. I'm pretty sure that he's behind it. You know, all roads lead to Trump for them, no matter what. And it's like, why aren't they talking about it?
Well, yeah, and that, when you say, you know, he's living rent free in their brains, he really is, because they do connect everything back to some Trump conspiracy. So if something ever does come up with a liberal as a target and it's out of Russia, you can bet they're going to connect it right back to the Trump White House.
Oh, but absolutely. If I can, I said, you know, the liberal brain is already, you know, mostly empty, but they have this one compartment storage for Trump. I mean, there's one compartment. That's like the only thing in there. Trump. They hate Trump so much. It's like, don't y'all have a life? I mean, it's like their life is Trump. It's crazy.
Yeah. If something happened to him, or he decided, you know, hey, I'm going to retire, I'm going to step out of the public eye, you're never going to see me again, I wonder what they'd do, because I think their lives would just lose meaning, because they wouldn't have anybody to target, no target for their aggression, or would they just move on to like DeSantis? Yeah,
I was going to say they'll probably move on to DeSantis, because I mean, look right now. You have Gruesome Newsom out of California that's wanting to, you know, go against DeSantis. He's already running ads in Florida against DeSantis. So I'm like, really?
Yeah, and those have been a disaster. I love the response where they made the fake ad with Gavin Newsom telling him to avoid Florida because of all the dirty freedom and to stay in California. But yeah, with
all the dirty freedom, yeah. But you know, if they're trying to assassinate someone, mm-hmm. and we're seeing this happen, this is a national security issue. I don't care if it's for $10. If it's 300,000, if it's 2 million, 5 million, it's a national security, and it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle they're on. But mm-hmm. the Democrats, if they're targeting Pompeo, if they're targeting President Trump, they're targeting anybody that's on the right, they're completely fine with it. Yes. You're fine with it, saying, well, you know what? Maybe you should have been more nice. Maybe you should have been more open or inclusive, and not to actually take out terrorists like Soleimani and make you know, these other countries respect America. Maybe you shouldn't have done it. That's their mindset. That is their mindset.
Yeah, the left will side with our enemies over and over again and against American interests. And I think that's part of why we're in the condition we're in right now, is straight down the line, any issue, the Biden regime does exactly what's the opposite of the American people's interest. But you're also correct, too, that we have to be taking these kind of threats very seriously. But instead, our government is rewarding this behavior with Iran, and then making, just a few days ago over the weekend, and I think it was on the 8th, there was a speech made where, again, that, you know, they want to destroy the great Satan in Israel. And then literally 2 days later, we're helping prop them up again. This Iran deal, we're saying that we wanted to revive the Iran deal. And then now we're also pushing our partners in the EU to help them complete their nuclear program. So none of this makes any sense to me.
No, I completely agree. I would not be surprised if the Biden administration doesn't already, or hasn't already, put pallets of money on planes and already sent it over there. Because look, he just sent another, I forget how many billions of dollars to Ukraine without even going through any kind of the proper chain. He just send it. Yeah. I mean, so now they're just sending billions of dollars on top of the inflation I'm sorry, not the inflation. We're not in inflation because they changed the definition. But on top of the recession, it's not a recession either because they changed the definition. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're encouraging these countries to destroy us, Iran, and not even just Iran, but they don't mind if China destroys us too. But they're encouraging these countries to do this. And now you have even a video of Iran talking about nuking New York. They said they're going to nuke and you know what's interesting? They said they're going to nuke New York, and this is after they started running this nuclear explosion ad in New York. Where's the connection at? Where's the coincidence in that? Do you believe in the coincidence in this? I mean, come on.
No, honestly, I think at this point everything's done for a reason, that it's all part of a plan. And I do feel like that there's so many irons in the fire, it's hard to necessarily track down which one's which. But our government has a legitimate concern that there's going to be an attack on New York, Or is this prepping for some kind of a false flag operation, whether it's a nuclear attack or just something else, just some kind of major event? And again, I feel like
something before November, maybe.
Exactly, right before the election. Took the words right out of my mouth. That they need a disaster and emergency, and they're willing to kill Americans to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or allow
I mean, that's
our
what
enemies
tyrants
to.
do. I mean, that's what tyrants do. That's what every communist nation in the past have done. When they get to a certain point, if they have to bring their liberal world order, they're willing to kill off millions of people to achieve that. That's what they want. And they're not even hiding the fact that's what they want. What's really interesting is that they're working and wanting to hold hands with countries that want to destroy us.
Yes.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. Well, and to go back to something you said a minute ago with the money, just giving Ukraine another, I think it was just $1 billion this time, but again, no Congress wasn't tied to it.
I mean, I wish I had just $1 billion, here.
Yeah, I could just, write a check and send it off. How does that check clear? I thought we were out of cash. I guess they just punched some buttons at the Federal Reserve.
To my understanding, I think it was Rand Paul. He was on the floor and he made the comment saying that the $40 billion that we were sending Ukraine, we don't even have it. We have to borrow that from China. We have to borrow from China. And since we have to borrow from China, guess what? We owe China. Ukraine, that money's never coming back from Ukraine. That's never going to happen.
No. Yeah.
And I call it hush money. I mean, I call it hush money for the Bidens and Hunter Biden. How come the FBI is not investigating Hunter Biden? We didn't even talk about that in the first segment.
Yeah, we'll have to get to that. Well, it's hush money for the slush fund. I'm convinced like Ukraine is little more than a money laundering operation at this point. I saw a statistic with like how little of the money actually makes it to the front line or makes it to aid for people. The rest of it just kind of gets sucked up into the bureaucracy there, never to be seen again. Yeah. And so it's all coming to kickbacks to people here and people there, lining the pockets of the oligarchs abroad and the oligarchs here.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? And then you have a lot of people that support Biden, and they refuse to acknowledge the truth. Mm-hmm. They're like, everything is better now. Everything is better now. High gas prices, the food, everything. It's just, and they're lying to themselves because we know that they lie about everything, and they're lying to themselves, trying to convince themselves that things are better. As long as Trump is there, they don't care. We can have $50 a gallon gas prices, and they say, long as Trump is not there, it's better. That's again, they got that little compartment for the space that they do have in there. Everything else is empty, but they got that one little compartment in their brain for Trump. Yeah,
it's like the little monkey with the cymbals in their head, just banging Trump, 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 Trump.
Exactly.
It's I actually what I was starting to get into a minute ago was it isn't just Ukraine. Right now we're believe it or not trying to help Afghanistan get a hold of another $9 billion. I think 3.5 of it are assets that we have frozen, and then we're trying to pressure I believe it's Switzerland's bank to release the remaining funds to them. We're getting ready to sign off on a loan through the IMF or through the World Bank for Pakistan. So we'll be held liable for the debt that they won't pay, and that's another $3.5 billion, I believe. So why do we do all these things to help our enemies or help countries that do not have our best interests in place, but we refuse to do things to help ourselves? We reward Iran for saying they want to wipe America off the map and for literally trying to kill John Bolton, President, having hits out on President Trump. They just tried to assassinate another journalist in New York, same one that about 6 months ago they made an attempt on. They just caught a guy out behind her house with an AK-47. Same thing, ties to another to IRGC.
Personally, I think it's the World Economic Forum. If you ask me personally, was really behind all of this, because the World Economic Forum, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Joe Biden, when he first started his campaign, it was called the No Malarkey Tour.
Yes,
and then,
I remember.
Yeah. See, you remember. And then he changed it to Build Back Better. And I'm like, why would he change this? So I Googled Build Back Better, and I'm kicking myself because I didn't take a screenshot. It took me directly to the World Economic Forum. And on their website, they straight up said that they believe in tearing down the world economies and building it back better to a socialist, capitalist economic system. And I'm like, first of all, socialism and capitalism can't coexist. It can't coexist. They're only saying that to try to convince people that it's like an inclusive thing, like they're all going to come together and we're going to have socialism and capitalism work together. It never will work together. But that's what's behind all of this. That's why we're seeing the issues, not just in the United States of America, but across the world with the centralizing of the banking system. They just did this microchip deal, and to my understanding, people only don't even see the surface of it, because they always wanted to go ahead and remove the dollar and make it a digital currency here in the United States of America. We're about to see dramatic changes to our currency because the dollar is pretty much worthless now. And it's becoming that. I mean, $31 again for a piece of salmon, and just telling us how much our dollar is worth.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways, I think you're right that it is about sowing chaos, whether that's a partnership with the Red Green Access, that it's anything to break apart the social norms here and to make everybody weaker, so it's harder for us to fight back. Build back better. That slogan's been used for a while. Boris Johnson used it. Emmanuel Macron used it, except for, not in English and French. And there's been a number of others that have used, that are all same thing, these WEF candidates, people that came out of one program or another, that then that ends up their campaign slogans. I think you're right. I think that is a big push globally with what's going on, where we see the same kind of things happening, whether it's COVID lockdown policies or this push against farmers right now in several nations now, that farmers are producing too much. It's not carbon they're going after now. What is it? Is it nitrogen? I don't even remember now.
Yeah, it's carbon monoxide.
Oh, is
carbon
that what
monoxide, and they're going after what was the other one? Carbon dioxide.
Yeah, is that the game now? It's too much of both.
Carbon dioxide, right? And they're going, basically the main problem that they see on the planet are people. They want to depopulate the planet. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. That's what the whole crisis when it comes to climate change. That's their solution. Their solution to climate change is get rid of the people. Get rid of people, and we'll have the solution solved. It's not paying carbon tax.
Yeah, the carbon they want
doing that.
The carbon they want to get rid of is you.
Exactly.
It is depopulation and it's control. But I think you're right that right now the core of the problem is this push that comes out of a number of different agendas that kind of coalesce into one. So it's the same thing we see with the coalition on the left here. It's intersectionality, so to speak. It's these different interests that all want to control people's actions, whether it's for environmental reasons or other reasons, and they want the population lowered. So because their interests align, we see different things happening right now that all those are the outcome, whether it's disease, controlling money, skyrocketing prices, decreasing food production, increasing cost of fuel. At the end of the day, we're an energy-based economy more than anything else. If you take away somebody's energy, you eliminate their state of life. We can't function without electricity today.
No, we can't. I mean, we can't even function without these things. I mean, it takes electricity. You got to plug that in, right? And the thing is, when it comes to electricity, they don't want to tell people how the electricity is being created, how it's being generated. It's not solar panels and wind power. I mean, it's by fossil fuels. They want to leave that key component out, right? And basically what it is, my personal opinion, I think they want to use fossil fuels for the who can. And for those of us who can't, we're just SOL.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. The green industry, everybody thinks that solar panels and wind farms are going to save us all. But anybody that's done the math knows you'd have to have like enough solar panels to cover what is it, like the Sahara Desert just to power Europe. I know it's something obscene.
It's ridiculous. I mean, most of the homes here, well, not most of them, but there's a lot of homes here in Texas that have solar panels. And even though they have the solar panels, it's still causing the electric bill for them to have electric bill because the everything has gone up because of the recession that we're in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the other one that kills me are electric cars. That people get these and think they're somehow saving the planet. They don't realize, it's still coal making your charging your electric car battery. that it doesn't run on, pixie dust and unicorn farts.
The one I like the most is when I see like the Tesla or the electric vehicle and it's broke down on the side of the road, and then they bring a gas generator and they charging it. So wait a minute, okay, so you put gas in here, and then you have the gas in here, and then you plug it in there, so it'll charge it up. Yep, that's how we charge it up and go. You're still putting gas in it.
And you're doing it in a less efficient way because now you're burning diesel on the side of the road for a small generator instead of a giant coal power plant where at least you're getting some efficiency out of it. Oh my gosh.
What it really comes down to is that the left, they want to do, all of these things, not thinking about the consequences. They don't think about the ending result. If we do X, Y, Z, what will be the results? What will happen? Let's try to study it and see the outcome. Let's do some analysis on it, saying that, will it break this? Will it cause disruption here? They don't ever do that. They just give it to us. Just give it to us. This is what we want. We want it now. This is what we want. Like little tyrants. That's all that they are. Yeah.
Well, it's their way or the highway. They want us to compromise. When Republicans are in power, we hear all about compromise. When it's the other way around, they never reach out the aisle to us unless it's to smack us in the face. We've got to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our sponsor, from My Coffee. We'll be back with you here in just a moment.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow. Cancel culture has not only affected myself and MyPillow, but also millions of you out there. My employees and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for all your support. At MyPillow, we have hundreds of products now, including my new slippers, bathrobes, sleepwear, and my new beds. We are offering the best products ever for the best prices ever. For example, we have the standard size MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now only $19.98 with your promo code. Or you can get custom fit with my premium queen size MyPillows, regularly $79.98, now just $29.98. Or my king size, regularly $89.98, now just $34.98. So go to mypillow.com now and use the promo code on your screen or call the 1-800 number below to receive these exclusive offers. Thank you and God bless.
Did I say My Coffee? Because I definitely meant MyPillow. But you can use the same code, AC21, for a generous discount for both. Now, Will, I understand you had something you wanted to share with our audience here.
Yeah. So, one of the things we've been talking about, everybody's been talking about, there's been this movement about adults having relations with children. It's completely repulsive. It's sickening to no end. And the left, when it comes to Joe Biden, remember when Ron DeSantis said that you're not going to be teaching the kids transgenderism and doing all this stuff, and Joe Biden, he had a personal issue with this and talking about, we're going to see if he can do this. They're targeting children. So I'll put it up on the screen here. On my side.
Let me get you on here full screen.
So, this is a lady that is, talking about minor, how'd she say it? Minor
attracted persons. Yeah.
Yes.
Maps.
Maps. Exactly. It's disgusting. So listen to what she says.
Folks, my name is Miranda. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a licensed professional counselor and sex therapist in Erie, Pennsylvania. And today I want to talk about minor attracted persons. And I want to talk about minor attracted persons because they are probably the most vilified population of folks in our culture. And most folks are making incorrect assumptions about them without actually knowing much about them. And those assumptions create harm for an already marginalized population. You may have noticed that I'm using the term minor attracted persons, sometimes abbreviated to MAPS, instead of the more commonly used term pedophile.
There it is. The commonly used term pedophile. And there's more to it, but I always end up stopping it when she gets to that point, because it's like they're trying to say it's okay for an adult to be with a child. And I can't, it's just sickening. It's repulsive to no end. We're talking about children and an adult. They're sick. And the Biden administration is completely okay with it. Everyone who voted for Biden is completely okay with it, even those that say, well, I don't support that. I support other stuff with Biden, but I don't support that. If you voted for him, you supported it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're doing more than just supporting it with words. They might not be able to get any laws passed out of Washington to change these kind of things, but they are using the police power of government agencies. Like, I'm sure you've seen the story with they're trying to strong arm schools right now into forcing them to let little boys in the little girls' room and little girls in the little boys' room by using the school lunch program. That the grade school won't comply with that, they're threatening to withdraw their funding.
That is that. You know what? Someone should be arrested for doing that. You're going to hold children hostage because you want to have boys understand that they're boys and girls understand that they're girls. Mm-hmm. This is evil. This is 100% evil. And you know what? It doesn't even take, on my broadcast, sometimes when I'm on socialist media, I'll take phone calls, and I've actually had an atheist call in one time and talked about how they're doing this to children, that they're completely wrong with it, that they're completely against it. The atheists are saying is that now they're like, this is terrible. I'm like, wow, you're an atheist and you're understanding the difference between right and wrong, morals, right? They're kicking in. When it comes to children, they kick in. There's adults that have children that are atheists, but when it comes to the children, that stuff that it'll kick in.
Well, yeah, because at some point it is common sense. It's basic morality. It isn't. And this is agenda driven. Like, parents know this is not good for their kids to be around, that it's not normal, that nothing good's going to come of it. It's just inviting other bad things to happen. So when it comes to their kids, they want to protect them. That not every atheist or every person is part of this cult of the left. But I mean, it's scary that the federal government is using these kind of tactics to strong arm school districts or individuals into doing this. Like, did you know, like in California now, this is already the law that people at 12 years old, you can go to a doctor, get cross-sex hormones or other drugs related to, what do they call it, gender-affirming care at 12 years old. And not only does you can use your parents' insurance, but they're actually forbidden from putting it on the bill, like what the money was used for.
That's crazy. Again, this is them targeting children, and they're trying to take control and take over children. Mm-hmm. And I've said this before. When I first started doing videos and I started paying attention to this, it dawned on me that the indoctrination of children, and I've said this more than 5 years ago, the indoctrination of children, they're wanting to do it at a really, really young age. And about time they become our age, about time they're adults and they're running political office and they're running things. In their mind, this type of sickness, this pedophilia, going after children, will be normal to them. Like when I was born, there was airplanes in the sky. So when I hear an airplane and I see one, I look up, I don't go, oh, what is that? What is that? But I was born with airplanes in the sky. They want people born with homosexuality, pedophilia being the natural thing. Yeah. And that's what it's getting to. But, they've been working on this for years.
Well, yeah, that's really what we're seeing is an effort to normalize it. That, it's always been something that was out there that was on the fringe of society. But I think since gay marriage, since 7 years ago, when that was kind of forced into law, because we have to remember too, like this gay marriage was never voted on by an individual in the state. When it was brought up for a vote, it was always shot down. Instead, it has to come in through executive fiat or in through the courts. When the people are left to decide, they don't want to do it. But when things started there, that's when I feel like this slide started. Nobody likes using this. Everybody says, like, oh, this slippery slope. It's a logical fallacy. Well, unfortunately, like it's looking more and more to be true, because that is the direction we're heading. Where in Michigan, what was her name? She said that there should be a drag queen in every classroom when people started pushing back about like drag queen story hour.
Really? I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, it's the AG. I want to say her name's Dana Nessel. But yeah, she was quoted saying that. And if I have the wrong person, I'm sorry. But it was either I'm pretty sure it was the AG.
It's a sicko. That's what it is. I mean, there's no excuse. They used to arrest people that would show up like that around children. They used to arrest them. Now they're like wanting to glorify them and celebrate them. And talking about, and I'm specifically talking about a man putting on a tutu, lipstick, and dancing around in front of kids. Yeah. They used to put him in jail for stuff like that. But now it's like, oh, look at this. You're so wonderful. You're so brave. You're so brave.
Well, and you know what? One of the things I really like watching now is them freak out every time Ron DeSantis does anything. Like, you know, he's now using pulling liquor licenses from some of these bars that were letting kids come in for drag shows and threatening other actions against them. But that's what we have to do. You know, Texas is another good example where they actually have laws against this stuff, and they're actually starting to fight back, because we don't. You know, this again will be normalized. It'll just be a few years from now, and then it'll be mandatory. You know, your kid has to go.
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of people are saying, well, Ron DeSantis is being a hypocrite, right? Because you have these sicko parents that are actually, it should be considered child abuse, taking their children to these liquor stores or liquor bars, right? Yeah. And the bars automatically, when they start, you know, these men dressing around, exposing themselves, it automatically becomes a strip bar. Automatically, when they do that, it becomes a strip bar. And they're saying, well, the parents, if they want to take their children to see that, isn't that what Ron DeSantis was saying about in the schools? If the parents don't want their children taught this, you know, the sexualizing their children, it's up to the parents. But see, that's when the parents are protecting the children. These parents, these sicko parents taking their children and taking them to the nightclub, they're endangering their children. Because if at any point that child is left alone with this pedophile, that child is subject to getting monkeypox.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, you already, there's actually already examples of that too.
I'm being serious. Yeah. There was a report where a lady was saying that there was 2 kids, and she didn't say they were males, but she said they were 2 children that showed up with the monkeypox, and they had direct connection to the male homosexual community. So they're boys. You know they're boys.
Probably.
They don't want to admit that. It's sickening.
Yeah. Well, the whole story is messed up, that we can't just apply some common sense here and know, like, this is not normal behavior. It's never been normal behavior. It's not going to become normal behavior. But it's like the rest of the fantasy. They don't want to just pretend themselves. They want the rest of us to have to go along with what they're pretending to be, or we'll suffer under the force of law. Yeah. Yeah, but that's, again, it's just like you mentioned earlier. The Republicans are so nice, and they'll say, okay, let's just do this to get along. But the left, they come with a force of nature, and we're seeing it unfold right now. And it's all because of what they want. They're drunk on power. And me personally, it's a spiritual thing that we're seeing with them sexualizing children, the homosexuality, the monkeypox, the Democrats, the tyranny, the lies that they believe that a man can be a woman, giving a man the Women of the Year award. And nowhere can you find the hashtag Me Too, the feminist groups, when they're doing this. This is a man taking jobs, a man taking rewards, a man taking scholarships. A man is taking this from women, but you don't hear nothing from them, because there's something going on. There's a chemical imbalance in the minds of these people, except for their look apartment. They got their look apartment with Trump, but other than they got this imbalance. There's a chemical imbalance in these, and then they have the nerve, the audacity to talk about mental health, and they want to go after mental health for those who believe in God. That's who they want to call mental health. Oh, how you believe in God? You believe in a magical God in the cloud, a spaghetti monster? You know, that's what they say. And we're like, really? So there's something wrong with us because we believe. That's what their main focus is getting at. And we're seeing that come even more so today. Well, yeah, because liberalism is kind of based around the worship of self, of doing whatever makes you feel good or whatever you think benefits you. Whereas conservatism, or Christian conservatism more precisely, it is about doing things that are moral, what God wants you to do, following that path, being good to others, that it is less reflective on you, even though they want to try to play it like we're selfish because we do want individual rights, we do want our freedoms, and we do expect the government to follow the laws that are supposed to restrain them, whether that's operating within their own jurisdiction or keeping our Second Amendment or a real, honest, free, and fair elections.
Yeah. You know what? Talking about the Second Amendment, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Brandon doesn't do something, an executive order when it comes to the Second Amendment. It wouldn't surprise me at all. The reason why I say that, because he said he would not do executive order for, the whole climate change, but he said he was getting ready to do it. But then they got Manchin and Christian Sinema to sign off on this stinking deal. So he's already threatened to do executive orders on things that they just can't get. And they're having a hard time still with the Second Amendment that they want to do away with. And again, it would not surprise me. And as soon as he does something, executive order on the Second Amendment, there's going to be at least 87, 90 million people in America, probably more than that, probably around 150 million people in America that's automatically become criminals. Because we're not going to turn them in. Not going to turn them in. We're not going to repeat Nazi Germany. I'm going to die on my feet. I'm not going to be on my knees begging, please.
Exactly. If the outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. And it's blatantly obvious. Like the cities with the most restrictive gun laws, whether it's Washington, D.C., Chicago, and New York, that's where the majority of our gun crime happens. I just saw the other day, like the majority of mass shootings occur in California, again, a state with some of the strictest gun laws in the country, where you can only have, a 10-round magazine or a 7-round magazine? I can't remember. It keeps changing over there because they are trying to fight it through the courts. But
because California lost that. Not too long ago, California just lost it, saying, no, you can't tell them how many rounds they can have.
Yeah, it might be back to open again, but it's the state fighting it. It seems like getting a concealed carry permit there, like depending on the county you live in, they make it next to impossible if you live in like LA, unless you're like a friend of the sheriff, you're not going to get one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do them any good. And you're right. I think if they come for the Second Amendment, that might be like a line too far for people to just go along with it. But that's also not good, because I think the repercussions there would be bad for the whole country.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? They're probably going to, not probably, I know they're going to get a lot of people saying, you know what, I'm going to do this for the good of the country. I'm going to turn them in. Here it is. It's just stupid. We're repeating history. They did the same thing in Nazi Germany, Mao Zedong. They did the same thing. Stalin did the same thing. Hitler did the same thing. They took the guns, convinced the people to turn the guns, and they actually did it saying, we got to do this for the safety of the children. They actually said that in the past, for the safety of the children, and they're doing the exact same thing today. And people are like, yeah, we need to do it for the safety of the children. And you know what? It's because they don't know the history. They don't want, it's like, and then when you try to tell them, they don't want to hear it. Well, what do we do? I know what the solution is, though. If I could tell, if you want to hear it, I have the solution. The solution has already been done. Mm-hmm. Right after the Civil War, the Democrats created the KKK. And the KKK was going to black homes, because at this point, black people started owning homes, and they were terrorizing black people, killing black people for having homes. They burned their homes down. Well, the NRA.
Yes, the original civil rights organization.
Yes, teamed up with the Republican Party and started giving guns to black families. And then guess what? It didn't stop all of the violence, but the violence for that went down dramatically. And ever since then, the Democrat Party has been going after the NRA. People got to ask themselves the question, why are they been going after them? So the solution is arm the people that are in harm's way, and it'll stop. The criminals will stop. Not all of it. You can't stop all of it, but it went down dramatically. But they don't understand that. They don't want to see it. And also, really quick, we can stop 90% of the gun violence in the country if the Democrats went ahead and do what they said, and they disarmed themselves, make it against the law for registered Democrats to own any firearms. We will stop 90% of the most violent crimes in the country. We had that other 10% because, hey, you mess with someone as law-abiding citizen, mess with the family, you mess with mama's little baby, you're liable to get shot.
Yeah, I think this is a genius law, and we need to push this immediately. And
I mean, why wouldn't Democrats be on board with that?
Exactly.
I mean, seriously, they keep saying we need to disarm anyways. Be the example.
Yeah. I always love seeing those things with where they go around a leftist neighborhood with the "This house is a gun-free zone" sign and try to get people to put it out in front of their house, and nobody wants to.
Oh, no, no.
Where can our audience find you, Will?
Well, I have my website, uniteamericafirst.com. But if you want to go and watch me on Lindell TV 2, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Central, you can check it out there. You can find me there.
Yeah. Thanks again, Will, for being with us here tonight. It's really been a blast. Please check out his show. Let's Talk About It on Lindell TV 2. Let's Be Frank will not be on next weekend due to the Moment of Truth Summit, but we will be back again the following week, bringing you other special guests. You can always stay up to date by checking out our website, liveuptofreedom.com. So thanks again, and we'll see everybody soon.